Hey kids, Inverted Cow here. I want to welcome you to a whole new series. It's called Towns. We're going to start off with a brand new game right from the top here. Uh, a little bit of backstory about Towns. Um, town of the Inverted Cow. A little backstory Towns here is I stumbled into this game when playing Timber and Stone. Just kind of did the test on the demo on it, played it through once or twice, and found that the demo kept drawing me back in because, well, honestly, I kept dying. Um, the game is no longer supported. The developer quit developing this game at version 1.4e, which is the current version that I have. He basically said, I did this to make money, making no money, not doing it no more. Um, it is a game that's got a load of potential, and I think has a lot of opportunity. Um, I'd love to see somebody pick this up again and continue with the development of it. Um, the premise of the game is you start out, you are building a town on top of a giant dungeon. Basically, underneath the ground here, you go down a few layers, and it's dungeons, endless levels and upon levels of dungeon. Of course, as you can see, there are some surface creatures, these brownie people, the yetis. I'm sure if I could find some sand here, there's probably, yeah, there's it's called sand crab, snake crabs. Pigs will turn into were pigs, that sort of thing. Um, you don't actually go into the dungeons and do the combat yourself. You actually do is you supply a town that has the things that people who would normally want to go hunting in dungeons, all these so-called hero types, um, would come to you for supplies and aid and a place to sleep and all those kind of things. So you build the town that supplies the heroes. You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to recruit the hero. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just meet the hero's needs and get more heroes. They do all the combat. They do all the hunting. They do all the bad stuff. Um, so I'm going to kind of jump into it a little bit here. We'll start off with personal rooms. Um, Now, one of the biggest problems I found with this game, and this is going to be the thing that's going to be the killer to me yet, is you need to produce ridiculous amounts of food. I usually get too distracted in uh, developing real estate and terrain, and whatnot, and get away from not actually farming. So what I'm doing right now is building personal rooms. The game is paused right now. The game is not functioning. It's just sitting there holding still. You can develop all the zones that you want on the surface, um, and they will not do anything. Like they'll function as a zone, as a room, or as a whatever. But they work better when they have walls and a ceiling and that sort of thing. Um, but you start out with 11 people. What I'm doing is I'm putting down, that's 12 rooms I've put down already. I'm going to put a over here where I want to put some gardens in. And what I do is I put down the personal rooms first, um, mainly because what usually happens is I end up with bonus people right off the bat. You can, because your people will not immigrate unless you have a certain minimum happiness. Your happiness tanks. And you start out with 35 or 40 points in happiness, and literally it will tank within the first game day, which is this right here. I start out with 35. If I have extra room spaces, see, now I have empty personal rooms. So I built 12 rooms, which occupied them, and another half dozen, so I've got 18 personal rooms. What that does is that encourages new settlement. The people will come and settle. Now, the first room you will need to build is carpentry room. And I'm going to build this area here. These guys here I'm going to use once I start allocating guys for various jobs. These guys here I'm going to use to do some tunneling and mining in these mountains. That's why I put them over here. These guys here are going to be for collecting resources, which is next to these trees, and also developing and trading the tools and whatnot that we need to do the job. So I'm going to put the carpentry station here, close to where these guys are. This one, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this word. This guy is for making clothing and dealing with pelts and skins. The masonry is pretty straightforward. And finally, your forge. And then the next thing I put down is a blank stockpile of just spaces. I'm going to give this one space for a wall. Stockpiles can basically be any shape. Right click on it to manage. I turn off everything and enable only wood and stone. Right now that's all I want. I will actually build a bunch of storage barrels and fill them up later on. The next zone I want to build is the tavern. This is your primary resource for drawing guys in, people into to do the combat. So it is something you want to build. You're probably going to actually build a few of them as time goes on. Again, it does not specify that there has to be a particular size or shape. So I start small with 3 rooms. The tavern, 3 rooms, and then beside the tavern, I usually build the dining room. The reason for that is your citizens will eat in the dining room as well as your heroes. Your heroes, I think, will also eat in the tavern if you provide seating and whatnot for them. The next zone I'm going to build is the kitchen and bakery. Now this is where my farmers are going to be. Over here is where my farmer is going to be. So do I have enough room here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I can go this way, I guess. Kitchen, and I usually attach to the kitchen right off is the bakery as well. Again, these don't have to be any particular size or shape, but a 3x3 minimum, so 9 squares minimum. I like to give the kitchen a lot of space because you will eventually be doing a lot of work in there. Most of these other rooms are not important right away. However, the market can be something that you might want fairly early on. So I'm going to put the market down, or I'm going to put a market down right here. And like I said, I will put down some storage barrels and stuff. I'll put the storage barrels actually near the market for when I get traders in. Okay, now the game is paused. That's all that. Now the first thing I'm going to do is order some harvesting. I didn't see apple trees. Well, I picked this corner because it was secluded, but the drawback is my fruit trees are over here. So I'm going to order these guys to harvest as much of these as I can. Unfortunately, it only lets you select at one layer at a time, so you got to kind of pass back and forth over it, a couple of passes with different heights to actually get it to select various levels. So we'll zip past this. I'll probably fast forward a little bit of this or skip right over it, and we'll get into the actual game itself here in a second. Okay, there, that's ordered up some harvesting. You'll also notice that it's selected the wild wheat. Yeah, we want to chop the wild wheat as much as we can, and I usually kill these wild pigs. Okay, I don't want to get too close to those guys, so I'm probably going to be regretting that. Kill wild pig. Harvest wild sugar cane. Harvest the bamboo. Anything else here that's harvestable? I think that's about it. Okay, chop. I'm going to start out by chopping a bunch of these trees here. Okay, and finally, I'm going to say this hill here. I don't really need this hill, so I'm going to just take this one right out for now. Yes, I know. They will cut and chop the hill down in the order that you have ordered it to be done in. So you don't really have to worry about getting too crazy on it. However, you do have to remember to start from the top and work your way down when chopping down hills and such like this. Now most wheel scrolls your height. This was something that I had mentioned on Timber and Stone, was a bit of a complaint for mine, was trying to scroll through heights. As you can see, the mouse wheel really makes it fast and a lot more convenient. The reason I'm doing this is simply because I want the land, this area cleared, this chunk of real estate cleared, because I want to develop here later. And that's basically the only reason I'm doing it. I will need that stone and whatnot. Okay, now I've queued up quite a large number of orders for my guys to do, so I'm going to hit play and let them get to work. And they're strolling over to start chopping all those apple trees. Actually, that's going to be the thing they're going to do. They're probably going to get into a fight with these two snake guys here, because I didn't see them until it was too late. But with any luck, they'll avoid them. Oh, two guys are going to do it. All right, here are bad messages. The guys have hit them. I'll speed that game up just a touch. Oh, okay, I'm going to turn the sound down. And that snake crab guy is dead. And he dropped a tooth. Perfect. Food is, like I said, your biggest hassle is the food. So this is something you're going to spend a lot of time on. So I'm going to pause for a bit. And there with that sound is my arrival of 4 additional immigrants. That's why I made those extra rooms. Okay, talk to you all in a bit, guys. All right, we're back. Yeah, I've just basically been letting it run for about 5 minutes here. They went and they collected all the apple trees and fruit trees here. You'll see all the fruit just laying on the ground. They don't have a place to stock anything, so they just kind of drop it wherever. Same with the wheat. I had them chop a whole bunch of trees. And I ordered the first crafting station that you will require, which is the carpentry bench. Bring up utilities menu. The next thing you'll want is the wood detailers and the masonry bench. So I'm going to order some wood detailers. I'm going to order some masonry benches. And a few other things that I'm going to need for use in and around here. Okay, I need bones for that. Okay, we can do the baker's table. So we go to the kitchen and we're in the bakery. We can put down a couple baker's tables. Now I've got them all working right now on just clearing out some field spaces. Butcher's table didn't. We'll put this in. And okay, this needs the mason's bench. So as soon as he's got the mason's bench down, I'll put the kitchen table in. Now we're coming up on nighttime of the first day, so I'm just going to pause the game for a second. And I'm just going to turn that sound down. Okay, now that they finished plowing this field, I'm just going to order this all to be planted as wheat. Of course, that one is right in the way, so yeah. The wheat field you will need for just about everything. The other thing I'm going to do is order a little piece like that for till up a piece like that for trees. I have a bunch of pine tree bushes here. I'm going to start with those. Mushroom bushes, I don't know what these are decorative. The only reason the mushroom bushes are there. Gather these carnivorous plants because they're just a pain in the tuchus. Now these guys will go and they'll collect all the little bits of wild wheat that are all scattered all over the map. And they're also digging on this hill here. This stuff will just drop down to the bottom as it goes. Alright, they've plowed up this little bit of terrain that I'm going to use for trees. And I know of about half a dozen pine tree bushes, which are these ones, so I'm going to get them to plant those right away. We're not having a real shortage of wood at this time, but it's good to get started on that fairly early on. How are we doing here? They've made the wood detailers, but they haven't made the mason benches yet. And I think I need to order the mason benches now. If you order them too soon, sometimes it just cancels them. And doesn't always notify you. Sometimes it shows up here. Yeah, you'll see mason's benches can't be made because of the wood detailers. So now that those are there, they can be made. They're making the bakery tables. Okay, now I am going to do is raw food. I'm going to put down a small stockpile here by the kitchen of raw food. And another one beside it of prepared food. Now that they've started planting the wheat, what I'm going to do is over here, this is your menu for production orders. Basically, you order anything you want, you can get it to automatically continue to craft same things repeatedly. You will become very familiar with this menu as time goes by, and it's a lot of little tabs. Okay, planted pine trees. I'm going to set this minimum. Whoops, let's do this. I want this to have a minimum of 15 at all times. Now, as I plant the other types of trees, I'll do the same, because then it'll just, whatever kind of wood you plant, it'll just show up. And food, gathered food, harvest wheat. That will be something you will need on a fairly regular basis. But we're into day 2, so I'm going to pause the game for now, and I'm going to wrap up, and I'll talk to you all next time. Probably just going to pick it up again just in a few minutes here, and I'll see you all next episode, kids. Have a good night.